This comparison illustrates a shift in perspective. On one side, a pristine tube of paint represents the traditional expectation of art supplies as blank slates. On the other, discarded materials like Tetra Paks and construction offcuts arrive in the studio already carrying a complex history of use, place, and consumption. This is a diagram of the traditional creative workflow. It follows a linear path. You buy a material, make the artwork, and finish the outcome. The focus is almost entirely on the speed of creation. Sustainable practice replaces that line with a continuous cycle. Before an artist begins a final piece, they must identify the material's source, test its behavior, and log the results. Creation becomes the final step of an iterative process. To manage this cycle in a studio environment, we follow a 6-step practical framework. You collect the materials, sort them, dry or prepare them, test their behavior, document every finding, and reflect on that data before deciding on a final creative outcome. These materials are complex resources with their own textures and limitations. Working with them effectively requires a specific conceptual and ethical approach that treats every discarded item as a primary source of data and meaning. This diagram shows the starting point for evaluating a single material. Take this discarded Tetra Pak. Before cleaning or manipulating it, an artist must evaluate its background by investigating 3 specific data points. We map out the story of the material. Its source is a local cafe. Its life cycle is non-biodegradable. Its community context represents the habits of mass consumption. After understanding the story, the next step is sorting. This is a friction point for many artists. You must stop sorting by aesthetic properties like color or texture and begin sorting strictly by physical risk. This matrix illustrates the sorting criteria. Materials are evaluated for sharp edges, chemical toxicity, or the potential for decay. They are then separated into items that are safe to handle and those that require specific mitigation before use. Ethical art making is built on this foundation. You must assess physical safety and the historical footprint of a material before any creative manipulation begins. When you begin the testing phase, you must deliberately suspend the desire to create a finished artwork. The goal here is pure data collection, learning exactly how the material responds to force and chemistry. This feedback loop shows the testing process. By bending, painting, or gluing the material, you identify its physical limitations. These tests reveal what the material can and cannot do, mapping every action against clear pass or fail criteria. Every result is then systematically logged. This material logbook pairs your test results with an ethics checklist, ensuring that your creative decisions are supported by hard data and ethical safety standards. Rigorous, methodical documentation is what transforms random waste into a reliable, ethical creative resource. Let's apply this framework. Look at the Sago waste and timber residue on your screen. Pause the video now and write down 3 potential safety risks and 2 source questions for these materials. For Sago waste, risks include organic rot and mold, while source questions should target agricultural additives. For timber residue, you must consider splinters and toxic varnishes, alongside questions about construction site contaminants. This evaluation process is a mandatory checkpoint. It must occur for every single new material brought into the studio environment. In the reflection phase, you use your logged data to design the final execution. Because you understand the material's limitations, your creative choices are informed and structurally sound. This finished sculpture is the result of that reflection. The Tetra Paks have been processed and elevated, but their original history of mass consumption is now an intentional part of the artwork's meaning. This matrix summarizes the complete workflow. On the left are the 6 practical steps of the studio process. On the right are the 5 ethical pillars that provide the foundation for those actions. Save this framework for your own studio work. Take a screenshot of this matrix now to use as a guide for your next project. Applying this rigorous, iterative workflow expands artistic intelligence and transforms traditional art making into a responsible professional practice.